Hello and welcome back to Bay Sunday. We're here with Audrey Cooper. Audrey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for asking me.
Now, Audrey, you are the first female editor-in-chief of the San Francisco Chronicle, which is great. But does it get, a little old always having that attached to your name? Like that's now your new, your last name is not Cooper anymore. It's
right.
Audrey
First
Cooper,
woman.
first woman.
You know, it would be great if we got to the point where women could progress to the top of their careers, and that's not the first thing people think, but we're not there yet. And I think I don't have a problem with it. I do think being a woman in journalism affects how you see the news. So it doesn't bother me at all.
How do you think it affects how you see the news?
Well, I think women have stories that they're interested in that are different than men. I mean, I'm a mother, so I'm very interested in education stories. I'm very interested in child welfare stories. Not to say that men aren't, but it does affect how you see the world once you become a mother. Once you go through this Ellen Powell trial, sexism in the tech industry. I think everybody was riveted by that trial. Certainly, the women had a different perspective on it. So I think it's inevitable.
Does it affect your management style as editor-in-chief?
Well, I don't know, because I've never been a man. I can't say what it would be like if I wasn't. I do think in general women tend to be more collaborative and less sort of top down, and that's something I've definitely noticed in the newsroom, that I try to get more consensus around things and have more brainstorming sessions. Whether that has anything to do with my gender or just my personality, I don't know.
Now, actually, you've made some pretty important changes over at the Chronicle, and I don't know if this is collaboratively or not. but for example, I was reading that you made groups of writers and other staff persons go through an incubator, a digital media incubator, to learn how to, maximize the paper's digital media presence. Tell us about that. Has that been successful?
Oh, absolutely. So the incubator really has two goals. The first is to give traditional print journalists some digital tools so that they can reach new audiences. And then the second goal is just to do more ambitious digital storytelling. I don't think this is news to anyone, but we have to get new audiences for the journalism we produce. And certainly the biggest opportunity there is to reach out to people who are on their phones, who are on their tablets, who are on their desktops, who are on social media. So the incubator was really designed to think harder about how we reach those people. We're taking it piecemeal. We're going through the newsroom. Different groups are going through it. The journalists, when they go there, they get a coder, they get a multimedia editor with them, they get a website producer. They get a ton of training, and just after the first group, we saw web traffic go up by some measures 3,000%.
Wow.
I mean, that was really, it knocked me on my you know what? It was pretty amazing.
That place sounds fun. Can I go?
Yes, sure,
it looks like
absolutely.
A team of people.
We get a ton of people wanting to come through it and see what we're doing, because it really is a very, I think, innovative approach that really speaks to our community. I mean, this is exactly the sort of innovation that's happening with all sorts of industries. Why not the newspaper industry?
Well, I mean, you've also said that you want to switch the Chronicle from being a newspaper company that also has a website to a digital company that also produces a newspaper, among other things. How has that been going? Or do you feel like you're there yet?
I think it will always be a transition, and will always be progressing towards that. I do think if you ask any Chronicle journalists, where do you get the most eyeballs to your journalism? They know it's online. They know it's digital journalism. So, it's hard. It takes a lot of effort to produce a paper every day. We produce basically the equivalent of a paperback book every single day, on Christmas, on New Year's, on Easter, whatever the day it is. So it does take a lot of effort to do that, but to think about what we want to say and how we want to inform our community, and then how to do it, I think is really critical for us.
And have you seen other newspapers sort of following your lead on this? I mean, in terms of the incubator, in terms of really trying to change the paradigm from a newspaper-centric to a more digital-centric?
I think some are, and some are really struggling with it. The New York Times is an obvious example. They have a ton ton more journalists. They're a much bigger organization than we are, but you can really tell that they're doing some innovative digital storytelling methods. And then there are ones that, you know, are really struggling as print revenues decline. So I think it's a mixed bag, and in the next couple of years we're going to see a lot of very interesting changes in the industry.
Well, will it result in less investigative journalism? Because your paper, for example, has done such a great job of investigating and following the story of the Bay Bridge bolt issues, for example. So I just want to make sure we're not going to lose those long-form, you know, sort of continuing investigatory stories if we're moving to something more, you know, smaller chunks and digital.
Well, for my point, absolutely not. In fact, we're hiring a ton of investigative journalists right now. I think, you know, as we go forward, what we do very well is 800-word stories on everything, regardless of whether it needs 800 words or it needs more. And I think where the industry needs to go is the shorter chunks for people who just want to get the news when they wake up and know what's going on in the world. And then the important ones may need to be 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 words long. You know, I think we need to play on the margins more than right down the center with everything.
Excellent. Well, we will all be watching. Audrey Cooper, thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
And we will be back with more Bay Sunday right after the break.